Super. BS.
Welcome back to Super BS, Blessing of the Animals upon you all today. I just wanted to check in with you guys. We've been here through rain and snow and sleet and hail and all that good stuff to bring you the news that we love and that we love to talk about. So we've been gone for a couple weeks, and we're back, and there's a lot to cover. So who's joining me today on my left, Deepu?
Donna.
Madonna, my lady Madonna. How you been?
Good.
Just living the dream?
Living the post-massive cardiac surgery dream.
That's what we all hope to dream about someday. And who's across from us?
It's Jank Jankerson.
Jorsh.
Hey, dude, for real, it's been a long time since the original dudes were together.
I know, Super BS. Soon we'll have to get some.
It's like a reunion episode.
I don't want to give people too much of a spoiler in our lives, but maybe a Rose Parks and a old church scenario.
Oh yeah,
we know what that means.
Dave, plug your ears for this bit so that you don't hurt your feelings.
Dave, sorry, we didn't say that.
We're the original crew.
But yeah, no, it's there has
him.
been so much gaming stuff that as much as I want to talk about Blade Runner with you guys, I think we'll probably
Eric
have to
hasn't seen, or Donna hasn't seen it yet.
I know, but I just want to talk about it, whether we talk about like what's in the movie or not. Just the imagery is so cool. But let's talk about games because we've probably been playing a ton of stuff. What have you been playing, Donna? In the last 3 or 4 weeks.
3 or 4 weeks. So much. Let's see. I've been playing The Witcher 2. Which has been pretty cool. I think there is one of the issues. It's not really an issue that I have with it, but it's something that I think we're going to talk about later today, with the concept of perfect playthroughs and games, really relying on that kind of thing and the pros and frustrations that go with that. But overall, it's a cool game. So yeah, I've been playing Witcher 2.
Is that the last one that came out?
No, Witcher 3 is the one that came out. Witcher 3, I think, is supposed to be the better game, and I've heard that Witcher 2 is supposed to be the better story. But yeah, so I've been playing that quite a bit. Let's see, did we talk about the Project Octopath demo? Was that in the last?
I think we may have talked about that it came out, but I don't actually think we played it.
Yeah, so I played that. That's amazing. All I could say is that I really just freaking can't wait for the game.
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
Been playing a little bit of Terra Battle 2, and actually regular Terra Battle. To go in phases with that game. Terra Battle 2 is really interesting. It seems, and I'm not very far. I think they've only released like 4 chapters of it thus far, but it's weird because you basically have like actual party member characters that are like part of the story, and then all of the like grab bag characters where you like use energy to buy cool looking characters and stuff. Those are all like equipped as guardians for your characters, but the story of the game involves like actual characters. So whereas the first Terra Battle, you sort of like the game is all from like a first person perspective, and then you just put together a party of characters. This game, it's like there's main characters that you adventure with, and then all of the like crazy looking characters and that stuff are characters that you equip on them for extra abilities.
How bad are the gacha mechanics in that? Because I know Japanese iOS games. And
what do you mean by gacha mechanics?
Like you pull a lever normally and you'll get a new character, or you'll get this, and the characters normally have a rating of like 1 through 5 or A through S.
The Terra Battle, I think, has been generally speaking a lot more fair with that kind of stuff because so there's never really like, because what they've always done in the first game and the second game is they do events where, and in the currency, I mean, you can buy currency to download characters, but you never need to because you get it just by logging in. So they do lots of specials where it'll be like, they'll say like, okay, if you do like get a character 10 times in a row on this date, your chances for rare characters is like tripled, and so they or you're guaranteed to get at least 2 ultra rare characters. Like it's pretty easy to not spend money or feel like you're getting ripped with characters and stuff in those games.
Yeah, I don't know if you got a chance to play Fire Emblem Heroes.
Oh, it's nothing like that. Yeah,
because I kind of bounced off that I just didn't care about you have a 4-star Lin. Well, you need a 5-star S rank Lin to be able to do this.
So in Terra Battle, characters have specific ratings. They don't like, here's your A+ version of the same character, like you got the C version. They have their characters are divided into like rankings, so it's like this character is only like a Z character and this person is only like an S character and this person is only a B. Okay. So it's like you don't ever like have to deal with getting a character that you want and then getting a bad version of it. They don't do that.
Oh, okay.
So I think they all have like equal stats and stuff as far as I know. And if you ever draw same character twice, you usually get level up and stat bonuses for the character that you've already drawn.
Okay.
Terra Battle 2 is a little different because since the characters you draw are guardians, essentially, you can draw multiple of the same character and then you can use those 2 to level each other up. So it's kind of it's a little bit of a different concept, but
besides the game that you and I both beat just last week, have you been playing anything else? Because we'll talk about that, but we'll probably get a little bit deeper into that.
Oh yeah. Let's see if I've been playing anything else.
You did Witcher 2 and
did Witcher 2, Terra Battle,
Project Octopath,
Terra Battle 2, Project Octopath, a little bit of Undertale.
Did you end up getting any of the recent indie games on Switch?
No.
Okay.
I haven't. I actually haven't turned on my Switch in a while because I've been playing Witcher.
It's okay, man. You got Super Mario Odyssey coming out. So.
Yeah, I do. I am really interested in Stardew Valley on Switch.
Yeah.
That sems like the system to have it on.
Is that out yet?
Yeah,
it is.
It came
Yeah.
out. I actually picked it up. I'll talk a little bit about it in my thing, but
what else I was going to say? I picked up the season pass version of Final Fantasy 15 to play all that stuff.
Oh, really?
But I haven't actually done it yet.
Is Comrades up yet, or is that this week or next week?
I think it's a beta.
Okay, because I think the multiplayer actual thing releases
it's like October 29th or something like that.
Oh, okay, so it's a couple weeks from now.
But that's like you know how we were talking about like what took place while Noctis was in that 10 years. I guess that's where the game takes place.
And that's cool. That's a really good idea. I think. Josh, what have you been playing, man?
So I've been playing besides Final Fantasy, the Zodiac Age, which I want to talk to you guys about later. I've been playing a little indie game called Maze.
Okay.
And it's by Finish Line
Games.
Maize.
It's actually about corn.
yeah, exactly. It's about sentient corn.
Oh, it's that game.
Yeah.
Oh, we were joking, actually.
Wow. Yeah, I got a free review code for it, so I've been playing
it's
that.
like a shooter, right?
Yeah, well,
it's really about corn.
It's real. So
I was just making a pun.
So
I was doing that too, and then I forgot.
You're on top of an underground research facility, and they're making sentient corn.
Okay.
And so the corn is basically the whole game is like a maze/puzzle solving game, and the corn are basically the bad guys.
And Monsanto is the good guy.
Exactly.
Because he makes all the corn.
Yes. But yeah, it's fun. It's challenging. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's definitely well written. It's kind of got that I guess you could call it a Borderlands vibe to it as far as the writing goes, but
so most of it's trash, and there's a few funny jokes.
It's just a lot of people saying really random things.
Okay,
but it's I mean I didn't play all the way through it, but it's the puzzles get harder and harder as you go, and there's a lot of things that you have to really be observant to solve.
Okay.
And
that's not your skill.
That's not my skill. And unfortunately, it's one of those games where not a lot of people have played it, so you can't go online and Google how to beat this part. So I kind of it took me a few tries to get past some of this stuff. But it's I don't really have that much to say about it at the moment, but because I'm still trying to get through it. But yeah, it's been fun so far.
Any other games? I know you mentioned Zodiac Age and that, but anything else? I mean, it's been I know we did a mini BS, but we really didn't talk a ton about other stuff. You mentioned Forza to us.
Yeah, so I bought Forza, and I haven't had time to play it though, because
you're lending out your consoles to other people like a weirdo. How many of your friends come up to you and say, "Hey, can I just borrow your Xbox?"
Actually, we have a friend. He offered to lend me his PS4 so I could play Persona.
Who?
Duck.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's awesome of him. But I
just be surprised. Like, people don't want to spend money on consoles.
No, so I'm not surprised. I just like it's such a for me, like, a console is such a personal thing. It's like I would lend somebody my Vita to play Undertale, which I've offered to do to another member of the show. But I just feel outside of like handhelds, like the actual console, you don't want to move it a bunch because it could break. Like, we have a friend who dropped his 360 and like his disk drive essentially didn't work.
Jeez. Wait.
Nathan. So yeah, he dropped that, and like I think Call of Duty was in it, and that game got stuck in there for a while. He had to get his disk drive fixed.
Unfortunate.
And that's just because he moved it occasionally. He used to move it from like one room to the other so we could all play games together. So,
hey, but for real though, remember back in the day when everyone was landing their Xboxes up together? Like,
yeah,
they transported just fine.
Well,
back
yeah,
then.
that's because that thing was like a hulking brick that probably could have survived.
It really was.
It probably would have gone through a wall and still worked.
I think that was probably the heaviest console that has ever been out. The original Xbox.
It must have been at least 20, 25 pounds, maybe even.
Crazy.
Might have only been 15, but it really is heavy. Like, it's not like you can carry one hand, but it's not advised.
No, yeah.
So nothing else besides those? You want to mention Zodiac Gauge a little bit.
Okay, yeah. So, I talked to you guys about this. I kind of got stuck, so I was asking for you guys' advice. But I was talking to Eric before I keep doing that.
Thank you for adding time to my flipping editing, which I probably won't do because I don't have time.
I don't really care.
But yeah, so we were talking about Vaughn. How do you Vaughn?
Vaughn.
That's how you say his name. It bothers me that he doesn't really serve a purpose in the game besides just watching what everybody else is going
sweet
through.
Eye candy
and being Penelo's sweet beau.
Yeah.
But is that even a thing? Like,
it is a thing, but it's weird because, again, you can kind of tell, like I was saying earlier, that Vaughn and I think Penelo as well were basically like the last characters created. Like the third time they made them refocus the game and drove the precious creator nuts.
Insane, literally.
Speaking of, just as two side tangents of things that are awesome, that guy Matsuno, he just had his like story mission and chapter come out for Terra Battle.
Oh, that's cool.
It's got his art style. Well, he doesn't do the art, but I think
he like hires somebody that he works with always.
Yeah, and it's got like a whole like kind of side chapter in Terra Battle, and also Final Fantasy 14 has a bunch of raids in Rabanastre.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Really? Yeah, which is cool.
That's the online game does.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, it's like a thing this week that came out with an update. In the ruins of Rabanastre. They don't take place in the same world, so I'm not sure why, like how you get there or whatever, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that game seems like it's getting tons of content.
Yeah,
14, yeah.
Yeah, 11 is still getting content.
Is it free?
No. It's one of the few games that's able to hold a subscription. I think it and WoW are the only two I know of that still are able to get people to pay money.
But I mean, what's nice is that there's not loot boxes in Final Fantasy 14.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about that today. Stupid. Loot box
like I'd rather pay 50. I mean, if I had a PS4 or a high running computer, like I would have never ended my subscription for Final Fantasy 14 because it's a fun game. It's really great.
I just wish they'd drop the subscription prices. I know they never would, but like to $5 or $10 a month because I still feel like it's
like
kind of
13.
Pricey.
What is it right now?
It's 15.
15 because 11 was like $12.99 a month.
Yeah,
right?
but then plus more for depending on your characters.
You want to have multiple characters. I don't think 14 does that, right? I think you just pay a set fee and you can make as many people as you want.
Can you play it by yourself or do you have to?
14? Yeah. So 14 is kind of the opposite of 11, whereas 11 is like super community based, which has its pros. I mean, 11 is still going and getting. I got an email for new content for 11 today, which I haven't played 11 in years, but it's very much like a party game where and 14 is similar, but what they've done is that basically most of your like main missions are solo, like your job missions and all that kind of stuff, and then when you need to party up, it just does it for you. So you don't have to like deal with, like waiting for a party. Sometimes like if you want to go do a dungeon or an instance or whatever, like you can go there, and sign yourself up for a queue, and as soon as you have a party available, like it will match for you.
So much easier. I hated in 11 how, like when I had to go from one area to the next and I had to go through like a higher level area, I would just run and just pray that nothing chased after me. I'd be like,
there's no like caravan or anything that just takes you through.
No, there is. You have to walk everywhere. And then like when I needed to do a mission, I would just sit. What was that big old city where the marketplace was that everyone congregated to?
Juneau?
Yeah.
Shoot something. That's where where like we first see airships.
Yeah. And so like I would just get there and I would try to send spam messages out to people saying, "Hey, can you help me do this quest? Hey, can you help me do this quest?" And like it just took so long to do anything.
There's lots of guilds in Final Fantasy 14. They don't call them guilds. I forget what they call them, but there's lots of that too, where it's kind of like you can just kind of be in your guild chat wherever you want, and there's a lot of like people that have guilds that are like, this is for casual people, or this is for like I remember the last time I got into it, because I've played that game twice essentially, where I had like a 6-month period where I was playing it a bunch, and then I had another 6-month period where I was playing it a bunch. But I remember when I joined back that second time, I found a guild of people that's like, this is for people that have, like, our guild is for people that have played the game but are kind of took a break and just trying to get back into it, kind of thing. And
very specific.
I know, yeah. But generally speaking, you're not wanting for like the game is really good about letting you do all of its content without it being a super grind fest, and then there's the end game things if you want to do it, like, you know.
Okay, see, I like that. That convinces me to maybe go pick it up and try it.
Yeah, it's a rad game. I really miss playing it, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's cool. What was I gonna say? It's not like 11. Well, how does it work? I'm trying to think.
I think you have as many jobs as you want. Is that what you're talking
and
about?
That's how 11 is as well.
Okay.
Where you can, like with 11, you just make one character and you can switch jobs once you reach a certain point.
And then you can level them all up, right?
Level them all up, yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's the thing that interested me the most about the Final Fantasy online games. Yeah. I just have such a hard time with MMORPGs, period, that it's hard for me to like jump in.
Yeah, I enjoyed World of Warcraft for season 2, but for me, Blizzard games, I don't like their art style or their music or their aesthetics, rarely. So it was a great design game, like every Blizzard game, but I just didn't. Whereas 14, you know, it looks like, you know, it's like an old school Final Fantasy. It's got like weird technology, and then it's medieval, and it's got cool looking races and classes and monsters and just art direction, and it's got great music. So
they have like a more than 4-disc soundtrack for that, right?
I think so, yeah.
I know in Final Fantasy 15 there's like at least one 4-disc compilation you can get of it for the car.
Oh yeah. No, the 15 soundtrack is weird, and I know this because I buy video game soundtracks, and I own 15 soundtrack.
Actually, I meant the in-game soundtrack.
Oh,
where remember you buy the CDs at the stores and then you put them in the car. I think 14 had 4 different discs, and that was a still selection from it.
Is it? Well, 15's kind of like a greatest hits of all the Final Fantasies.
Well, for the soundtracks specifically, but in a lot of ways, yeah. But anyways, you want to mention something about the Final Fantasy 15 soundtrack?
Oh, I own it, and there's only one version of the soundtrack that comes with the old tracks, and it's like a weird download that I don't have that. I just have the main soundtrack. It's 4 discs.
Oh, that's crazy.
So real quick though, back to the 12. What? Because you were telling me something interesting about the characters.
Yeah, I believe the game was originally designed to be was written to be about Bosch.
Yeah.
And then that was too dark or something, and then they made him rewrite it to be about Balthier.
And you can tell all these things too. Like they left certain aspects.
And then finally it was like, oh, we need a character, like a main character that Japanese teenage boys will identify with. And so that's why they made Vaughn, and they made him like pretty much last, I think.
But as much as I hate Vaughn, I do love the way they introduce both Balthier and Bosch. Yeah. Where if Balthier or Bosch were the main characters, like I feel like you wouldn't get that really cool introduction that you got. You know,
that's true. And I actually don't hate Vaughn.
Yeah, he's just dumb. Like that's my only complaint.
I want him to serve a purpose.
Yeah. For me, it's just sort of like at some point, you know, I don't know how many new Final Fantasy fans are developing. Like, I don't know if like the generation of kids in Japan now and the generation of kids in America now really, give a shit about Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So that's why I wish, and I think they kind of did it with 15, even though they're all still pretty young. I feel like I wish it would just grow up a little, because its fan base, like most of us are almost 30.
Yeah.
And like those are the people that grew up with Final Fantasy. And one of the coolest things about RPGs,
30th anniversary in America this year.
Yeah, exactly. One of the coolest things about it is identifying with your characters, and when it's constantly like, this is why I don't play Tales games, because it's constantly like 17-year-old amnesia boys with superpowers, and it's like, it's so boring. That's also why I love Lost Odyssey.
Yeah,
from Mistwalker.
That
was a great game. Do you think that if they stopped doing numbered entries in Final Fantasy, that it would bring more fans?
No.
Like new fans to it?
I don't want. I like the numbered entries, to be honest.
If they reset them.
That would be weird. I don't think they need a reboot. I think the way the design of it is so cool. It's kind of like Twilight Zone. You could have infinite Twilight Zone episodes, and it wouldn't ever be bad because they're all kind of separate stories that are self-contained.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you need a Final Fantasy reboot.
Unless you're thegamer.net or .com and
you know things that we don't.
Yeah.
Real quick, though, I do want to move pretty quick because we got tons of news to cover. But one last thing about 12, I think, and this might start a bigger conversation, but I think they could have even just made, instead of Vaughn, like a create your own character, and it wouldn't have changed the game that drastically, because
that's true.
Vaughn was such a blah no one that.
But stuff like that is hard with, just because it could almost be like, it's like when you do stuff like that, it's harder to have voice acting. It's harder to have like, like that kind of focus. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I just basically skipped Xenoblade Chronicles X. Because and
I hate it a lot, but I think Vaughn, I don't remember almost any of his lines in the game, to the point of where, like, I think
what's the one where you go around saying that you're Bosch or whatever?
Oh, that's the
Bosch von
Bosch von
Ronsenberg. Well, so they keep trying to make him relevant by having these moments, like these father-son moments between him and Bosch or him and Balthier.
Yeah.
And that's really the only emotional depth that he has.
Do you remember the Mega 64 video where they did that?
They go around and
dressed up as Vaughn, and they went just to random people and did that?
No, I think I've seen it once. But
that's a great one. I watched a new one of theirs where they do Mario Odyssey.
No, I've not seen that one.
I'm saying I watched it, and they like throw the hat on people.
The last new one I saw from them was their Deus Ex, where they're hacking everything.
Oh, okay.
It's a really funny, just like them walking around hacking everything.
Were you there when we were right next to them at Disneyland once in line for Space Mountain?
No, not
I didn't
at all.
say anything because you never know if. I mean, they're not
cool.
Really celebrities, but
they are crazy.
You never
utmost.
You never know if someone is like going to be upset that you're like bothering them or not. But
yeah, they seem like cool guys.
Yeah.
But anyways, Jake, what have you been playing?
Oh, that's right. I'm here.
Nice.
I've been playing Undertale just at the very end. Just beat Metatron, or was that?
Oh yeah, Metaton.
Metaton.
I think it's Metatron, or Metatron, but it's a great battle.
He was pretty funny, and then his second phase was pretty fun. It was actually pretty hard.
Yeah. Oh, the dodging. Which part? What was the second phase? Is that the one where you have to get the 10,000 points?
The 10,000 viewer ratings.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it starts off hard right away. And if you're playing the true pacifist way, which is what I'm playing. That's what. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, when you play a game a year and a half after it's out, you kind of know, you get to read and know how you want to play, because for anyone that doesn't know anything about it, when you get to the end of the game, they do a spin where it's like, oh, your level is an acronym for like love of killing or something.
Yeah.
And your experience points is for like enemies executed or something like that. And
yeah, it's silly.
And so it puts a whole twist on you if you were to actually fight people. So, but I knew that going into it. Again, probably a bummer in the end. But so I knew to play true pacifist way, because I guess that almost takes away from replay value, because had I played the first time and killed everyone and then that was revealed, it'd be like, oh, okay, I'll play it the pacifist way. But I knew, and now I'm just being redundant. And
no, I mean it's cool. I kind of did the same thing. I learned about it. I'm glad, though, I knew that. I think I would have been angry. And on top of that, I know that if you play, not pacifist, but if you play the other way first and then come back, they'll actually comment on it, which is cool. And it's fun that people found that. But, we both did play it late. And I played it the way I wanted to, though. I would rather play it on a console. Like, I played on Vita and PS4. I'd much rather play on both of those than on PC, where I just don't feel comfortable.
Agreed.
So.
Some games just don't, because I wasn't a PC gamer for so long, and you guys all know that. But
yeah,
then I kind of became one out of necessity because that's what I was on all the time. And then they finally made a system I thought worthy of buying again with the Switch.
Yeah.
So I'm finally stoked about it again.
Yeah, and PC gaming's great. It's for me, like sitting behind a desk, that normally is when I have to do work, not when I get to do fun stuff.
So we'll see. Although it's just my guess, but I think the Switch is, I've talked about it a bunch of times. I think it's how things got to go eventually.
Yeah.
We talked about like the point of diminishing returns, like how good can you make the graphics, and then eventually you can make them so that it's all on a handheld, and then you can just switch at any time, which is perfect.
Yeah, I hope they do that, but we'll see. I still think with how many PS4s sold and still the Xbox Ones, we're not going to see the end of the console life cycle anytime soon.
No, not soon, but I'm thinking maybe not next gen, but the following. But hey, I don't really care either way. I think it's a prediction.
Yeah, as long as they have good stuff coming out, I'm always stoked on it. I know you said that you haven't had a ton of free time. Have you got a chance to look into anything, even if you haven't played anything that's really exciting you? It's a crazy month for releases.
No, just I've just was seeing what's out, like what's cool and what's on the cheaper end. And you'd mentioned Golf Story, and other people had, so I checked it out, and I'll probably pick that. I can't even play my Switch till next month with my birthday. But,
birthday boy.
My wife's like, no, you get to wait. I was like, okay.
Oh, man, that sucks. I'm sorry. Married life. I know that's... No, it's not that. It just sucks you have to wait. It is a great thing. But, whatever. You'll have a lot of fun. If you wait, you can also have Super Mario Odyssey when you open it. That comes out. So. And
that and Breath of the Wild. So I got to read up on the DLC that came out for it. And do you know how much they're going to come out with?
They're only doing 2 DLC packs. The negative is you have to buy both of them to get one or the other. And the first one is kind of like, it's not really great. So I'm waiting to see what the second one is before I buy it. It's $20. It's not the end of the world. But the first one is just a bunch of like supplemental stuff that wasn't like add-on story or really cool stuff. The second one sounds like it might be a lot more hefty. It sounds like you might even have like playing as there's like champions in the game.
Oh.
They're calling it the Champions Pack, so I assume it has something to do with them, which could make it really, really cool. But we'll see, man. That game has so much content. Like, I put in about 80, 100 hours, and I even though I 100%ed all the shrines, and I didn't get 100% of the Korok seeds, though, and I didn't upgrade the armor fully, those things would have taken another 20 to 30 hours easy.
Yeah.
So
it's a long game, and that's another reason why I got it is, you get a few long games, and that's a year's worth. You get me 2 or 3 long games, and that's all I can fit in a year these days right now.
Oh, yeah, and there's just so many good games. I'm sure we're going to have an end-of-the-year discussion about just this year in gaming, but this has been an insane year. When it comes to games and quality and quantity, it's insane. It's crazy.
I know I was talking with another buddy of mine, Connor, and we were talking about Breath of the Wild and how it was definitely like a good step in the right direction, where they tried to they successfully brought new life into the game, which is funny because I haven't even played it, but I've watched plenty of videos and other people play it by now. But he was talking about how it succeeded with Breath of the Wild, but we were talking about Mario and how that looks really cool to me, but he was like, it just didn't do it for him, and that was actually kind of surprising to me. And he says it's too early, the game's not out yet. But it's always a little tough when you try and refresh something. But I think it's a risk worth taking, and I think Mario Odyssey is going to do it just fine.
Oh, it's going to be amazing, man! I cannot wait for the 27th. Well, anyways, we're going to be jumping back to the news. It was awesome talking to you. We'll be seeing you next week again, I'm sure, my Jakey Poo, if not for another mini BS in this short time. Rip. Okay. Now, anyways, I want to get back to everybody will know what that means soon. I want to get back to what I've been playing real quick, and there's a game that we probably will spend quite a bit of time talking about, so I'm going to rush through some of the others. I played, been playing Golf Story. It's really cool. Golf RPG.
How is that?
It's really good, and we talked about this on Mini BS. It is very similar to the game. I didn't actually play him, but the Mario Golf from Game Boy Advance, I guess. So you like level up all your golf skills and you run around. The only beef I have with the game is I kind of just want to play it, and there is an insane amount of dialogue, like to the point where I'm just like trying to skip stuff because even though it's funny and clever and catchy, there's just too much of it. I just want to play golf, and sometimes there's like 10 minutes of dialogue scenes you have to get through to play golf again.
Sorry, a golf story.
I don't want to interrupt you, but is it like Pokemon? How like you go out into the wild and all of a sudden you get challenged to a Pokemon battle by Gary?
No.
It's a golf match.
Is it like Kirby's Dream Course where you are the golf?
Yes. No, but they do have really clever things. Like you get into the secret room and it's a mini golf course, and then you have to go play mini golf. I mean, it's a really fun game. I definitely suggest you play it.
Are there windmills? Does it like?
They do not have windmills.
Okay.
I also want to talk about the other game I played for that, SteamWorld Dig 2, which was really, really good. I think I may have I mentioned it to you guys, but I can't remember if we mentioned it on Super BS previously. It might be my favorite indie game I've played on Switch. I'm trying to think, but it's really, really high up there. It's just so much fun. I beat it in about 6 to 8 hours, and my biggest critique is it felt too short. Like I just want to keep playing, but I didn't really have a reason. I've also played Deus Ex Mankind Divided, a game from last year. That's awesome. I definitely suggest people pick it up. It's really cool, like story-based. The game looks amazing. I don't really play a ton of Xbox games anymore. Tried Destiny 2. I think we talked about this a little bit, but played a little bit more of it. It's same. Destiny, not really anything that's my cup of tea. And there's more games than that. But the real game I want to talk about that both me and Donna beat was Cuphead.
Yes.
Probably one of my favorite games of this year. This year's been so crazy. I don't even know if I can say that anymore because there's been so many good games.
Oh man, Cuphead was amazing.
Oh, the aesthetic.
I'm still playing it.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I've been I go through I'm trying to get black and white mode, so
doing the platforming level without getting hit.
Well, no, it's not without getting hit. It's without shooting anything.
Oh, okay, yeah, which is almost equally as hard.
Yeah, it's actually really hard. I've done 3 of them.
How can you do that? Some of the guys require that you kill them, like their walls. There's one level that you can do it without.
So basically, you have to have the invisible dash.
Oh, okay, and
equipped.
You can dash through them.
Sometimes you just have to take a hit, but you can. Like in the carnival level, like there's a guy, the slot machine thing or the whatever it is, or you can dash through him, but I think the hitbox for him it's so hard to get it exactly right that I almost always take a hit on him. But for a lot of it you can you can jump dash over these people. The hardest one is there's that machine that cranks out the acorn bombs in the
first
Forest Follies.
Yeah, I want to say it's first.
Yeah,
one, right?
and for that you have to. There's these mushroom guys on the ledge before, and you have to wait for them to shoot a pink cloud at you
and parry
so
it.
You can parry over it. So there's some really hard ones.
We need to talk though about the actual game beyond the hard mode. I mean, like some of those bosses, the music, the world.
Yeah.
I mean, we both beat it.
It was so fun.
And we played co-op a lot, which was cool, so we got to try that as well.
Yeah.
When you play co-op, does it save like where you're at and then you can pick it up in single player?
It saves the single player,
Nice.
and then the other person can just jump in and enjoy. Yeah.
Dude, I love that.
And then it saves that, even like I signed in as a guest on Donna's machine, and it saved the guns and stuff I bought the next time I played, later. So
rad.
To me, it was just like the experience of like getting that cool, like the soundtrack I got to watch a making of, and it's just so cool. They have like I want to say it's a big band,
a ragtime
band, and then like occasionally they have like just singers and stuff that are pretty cool.
Yeah.
But like just the artwork, like just every boss was so cool. Just seeing their different forms.
And it was such a fun, satisfying game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't find. I mean, for the most part, reviews have been really positive, with the occasional like talk of it being really unfair at the end or like that. I didn't even really find that to be true. Like
think
thought it
people were
was
just
all great. Yeah.
angry because the last boss takes so long because you can fight. This isn't spoiling
Second to
much.
last boss, but
Yeah, second to last boss. You can fight anywhere from 3 to 10 battles before you get to him, and then you have to do the parry mechanic, which is almost impossible, but it can be done. But in the end, it's just a challenge that you have. The whole game is about playing and replaying and getting better and winning something, and you get a real good sense of accomplishment.
What are the save points like in this? Is this
everywhere.
one of those?
No.
So
Can you save whenever?
Can you save so even after
You
each
don't-
boss,
you don't
don't
have to
worry
save,
about
yeah.
It's auto save. So if
Okay.
you quit a boss battle, it saves. If you beat something, it saves. Like anything you
Yeah.
do saves. There's like a slight buying and not selling, but buying mechanic where you get coins and buy things. That was okay. I did find it enjoyable. It wasn't like that great of a thing, But
yeah, but it's cool because you get different
Yeah.
weapon combos.
and you can choose, which is cool. It's
Yeah.
better than them being like, now you get the red bolt. Because if they would have done that, that would have sucked. You
Yeah.
know, like, oh, you have to wait till you beat this guy to get the shotgun, essentially.
Yeah.
But no, I mean,
And that would have just been Mega Man if that's how it was. Where you
yeah. I'd have to say my favorite boss looking back, though, might have been the dual frogs, just because
Those are
they were
cool.
on the casino riverboat. Do you
Yeah.
have like a favorite kind of like memory? I mean, they're all so cool looking, but I'm just like,
yeah. My favorite bosses. Oh, that's so tough. I love the mermaid.
Mermaid was cool.
That
I
was-
liked how you had to dodge at the end. Like they
Yeah.
had they have a whole dodging section. So half of the battles take place on ground, and then half take place in a plane, where it's kind of like a shoot 'em up, almost, or not
Yeah.
shoot 'em up. Yeah, shoot 'em up. Yeah. At the end stage, so all the bosses have like multi stages. The mermaid goes through a cave, and you're both dodging her bullets and dodging the actual environments while trying to shoot her and get.
So you're a plane, though. Is that what you said?
In half of the battles. So
What are you normally though when
a
you're not?
Cuphead or a
Oh, you're
Mughead
okay.
or Mugman, I mean.
Yeah.
And you just have guns?
Yeah, you just say your fingers are just going.
That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah.
It is
It's great.
It's amazing. There is so much news to talk about. Let's take a real quick break and then come back.
right.
Badooch.
Hey everyone, venture into the pop culture cosmos today, where you'll hear our conversations on different topics within the world of movies, TV, video games, comic books, technology, board gaming, and more. You'll also get a taste of some of our other shows within the cosmos as well. So come on and join us each week as we delve into the pop culture cosmos.
Welcome to the Pop Culture Cosmos.
Welcome back. Hey, biddy-dee-dee. Anyways, yeah, this has been an insane month. October is going to be crazy, and there has been a lot of news, but even more than news, there's just a ton of games coming out. I want to just get like a pulse beyond Mario Odyssey. Are you guys excited for anything?
South Park.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that next week.
I am worried about the gameplay, but I know it's
Yeah.
going to be hilarious.
Yeah, I'm hoping the gameplay's good. Those videos didn't inspire a lot of confidence in me.
It just looks more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah.
It's weird because the videos kind of turned me off of it, but then everyone's excitement over it is making me feel excited about it.
I mean, I know the game is going to be so funny, just like the last one was, and it's got the same, Matt and Trey are heavily involved with it, so it's going to be South Park funny, but it's just kind of hopefully the game, not being made by Obsidian is going to be okay.
Yeah, that's a bummer. But I don't know if you guys noticed, and we're going to kind of go through the news weird today. I don't know if you guys noticed the post. I want to say it was from an Obsidian writer about a Fallout tweet. Did you see that? He posted something about like a stick figure shaking the hand of Pip-Boy. And a lot of people are hoping it means that like Obsidian or something is going back to the Fallout universe.
Oh, that would be so awesome.
So it's a big rumor. Nobody knows, but it is a strange tweet.
Did they originally own Fallout?
No, but Obsidian is made up of people that worked on the original Fallouts, which is why a lot of people preferred New Vegas to 3 because it felt more
like the originals.
Fallout-y.
Okay.
So, because Bethesda tends to make things too serious because their Elder Scrolls games are serious, except for Make the Liar and the Lusty Argonian Maid.
Nice. I love those books.
But generally speaking, like Fallout is such a quirky, like kind of dark humor universe, and Fallout 3 is so serious for the most part.
That was the one with Liam Neeson in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Fallout 3 is amazing.
Fallout 3 is a great game, yeah, of course. But Fallout New Vegas came out, and it had, it's Obsidian that made it, and they had the people that worked on the original Fallouts that helped invent Fallout, essentially, that work at Obsidian. So it just captured a lot more of that, like, goofball, like, off-the-wall sort of aesthetic that Fallout typically has. And so that's why a lot of people would be really excited about Obsidian getting another shot at a Fallout game.
It would still be owned by Bethesda, right? It would just
Yeah,
be
they
subcontracted.
exactly,
yep.
yeah.
That actually,
because that's how New Vegas was. They used the same engine as Fallout 3, and then they just made a new game.
Because I remember I was confused about New Vegas, whether it was like an expansion, but it was a standalone game. Like, I played it. I thought it was
standalone
pretty
game
fun.
with all of its own DLC and stuff.
Yeah.
Which has such good. Some of that DLC has such good writing. Like, that was cool stuff.
yeah, it's rare when you actually find like DLC that's supposed to be good, which actually brings me to something that looks a lot better than it probably will be. I watched the DLC videos for Assassin's Creed Origins. Did you guys see what that is?
Yeah.
Where it's like you fight, one of them's like you fight against Romans, which looks pretty cool, and the other one is you fight like the Egyptian gods.
Yeah.
I saw that. Was that the one with like Anubis rising out of the sea?
Yeah, this looks so cool, man. I'm hoping that game's good, but
Do you know what this game reminds me of?
Does it have loot boxes?
I will have to talk. Oh man, the
jeez.
loot box 2017 is going to be. I think it does. I know there's purchase currency you can get.
Epidemic. The game though, just watching the videos, it reminds me of Rise.
Oh, Rise. Oh, I
Just
love.
like
I
the
actually
combat.
really loved Rise.
I did too. You could go through it in like 4 hours,
Yeah.
and it's a fun game. Like
It's not a game I'd ever revisit, but I enjoyed it a lot.
'cause I picked it up at Target for like $7.
Yeah,
And
it was a super cheap game at some point. It's still pretty beautiful too. It's
Yeah.
like one of the best looking games. Before we get into loot boxes and completionists' ways of games, though, I want to talk about what I've been really trying to find recently: the SNES Classic. Since the last time we recorded, that released. People have put reviews up of Star Fox 2, which has gone from people loving it and saying it's amazing to people saying it's maybe the worst game on the whole SNES Classic. But, like, what do you guys think of it? I know we talked about it on the last Super BS, me, Donna, and Stankbank, but, like, are you guys trying to find one or, like...
No.
No,
It doesn't have enough games that I want. Like, I'm so disappointed in the game selection.
But it's still only $80, and there are still 5 great RPGs, 5 or so great platformers, 5 or so great other games, and there's 5 games that are just whatever that just exist on it.
I like the idea of it, and I tell myself now that if I buy it, I'll be sitting there playing it. But I know that, especially like right now with all the good games coming out, I won't play it. Like
Yeah, that's my problem
See,
too.
for me, most of the games on the SNES Classic that I like, I can play already on something.
Yeah.
And then
Like the iOS.
like the iOS. No, but I mean, I've got like 1,000 versions of Final Fantasy VI. I've got I've got a version of Earthbound that I can play on a TV.
Yeah.
I've got a version of Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3 that I can play. So it's like, for me, the incentive is really low unless they were to come out with some type of virtual console for it, or just until it gets hacked illegally. Because there's games that I really want to play that I haven't finished before, like Illusion of Gaia or Terra Enigma or like Actraiser 2 and things like that, and they left all those games. I mean, like a million of those games they just left off.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger was the biggest one that I was surprised wasn't on there. That's like the single biggest omission. I'm like,
Donkey Kong Country 2 is a pretty big omission in my
I know that's a big one too, but it's just
clear something up for me real quick. When you say hacked, does that mean like you want to add more content onto it?
A lot of people have been doing that.
Would you do that through like USB or?
Yeah, they have USB ports.
Yeah, I've read that it's already starting to get hacked, but it would have to get like, I'm not a hacker,
the layman.
So it would have to be like layman hacked, and then I could just treat it as an emulator.
I wish they would have done what Giant Bomb suggested, which is if you buy the thing, it gives you download codes for the game when they come to Switch, because then I would have immediately have bought it. I would be like paying.
We're assuming that because we don't know that anything is ever coming to Switch.
I know. I feel like we talked so much about the Virtual Console and Switch at the beginning of this podcast, and I've just lost my will to beat that drum.
But I would see. I think it would be a great idea if the SNES Classic just came with an online store.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would be cool with that. I just want like the 5-foot HDMI and the 5-foot cable or whatever that comes with it. That's just not long enough. Like I still want this stuff on the Switch, but whatever.
It's
I could talk about that.
We always talk about this stuff, and like the way we describe it, we make it sound like Nintendo hates money. Like we literally
do.
We tell them how to like put these products out, and so like nerds like us will buy them.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't happen. Like it seems like it's so simple for them to do these things, and they don't.
I think culturally, there's a lot of pride at Nintendo, like in Japan. I've read things before where it's like the higher ups at Nintendo say, oh, well, we don't want like people to only like our past, so they refuse to do things like conveniently make all of their legacy available to everyone. Because that's the hard thing, is it's like, even if like I have a Super Nintendo, but I don't know how to hook it. I'm sure there's a converter somewhere, but I'm not going to hook it up to my like TV that no longer has like the outlets for it.
The red, yellow, white.
The red, yellow, white and stuff like that. And it doesn't work very well anymore. It's like, it makes so much sense to just like, hey, put out your stuff.
Yep.
So that we can play it still.
And they did it with the Wii, and then they kind of like went back on that for more and more. The Wii U did half of the ports. And this is something we have to talk about today now, too, is the Wii eShop's closing January 2019.
Why?
I mean, you got to close those at some time. But the crazy thing is, like, all the games we bought, which, I mean, I sold my Wii, so whatever, I kind of forfeited them anyways. But say you own a Wii, you have to, and say you bought too many games for the minuscule hard drive that was on it, I want to say it was 512 megabytes. Mm-hmm. You have to literally back those up on a USB or hard drive to be able to, like, ever access them again. After 2019, it's done. Like, you can't get the games you purchased. So Nintendo is dealing with this the exact opposite way that Microsoft did, where it's like, hey, let's make the original Xbox games backwards compatible. Let's do the 360 games where it's like, hey, you can use your discs or your digital purchases. It's like, nah, we don't want you to get the games you paid for already.
Eventually, they are going to run into that problem, though. That's why Microsoft addressed it. That's why there's been rumors of Sony talking about it.
Yeah, I don't think Sony's going to do it, man. Maybe the next console.
Yeah, I think Sony has to take another... They need to have the reverse, like the Microsoft thing happen to them, where everyone just turns on them for some reason, and then they might do something good.
Bust out the pitchforks.
Yeah, if PlayStation 5 is like a super lazy console like PlayStation 3, then everyone will hate them again, and then they'll do something good.
Let's hope. I mean, if their E3 performance is any indication.
But there's also, like, we could talk about Nintendo and these consoles for forever, but I want to talk about, like, how we play games. Donna mentioned a really cool article about, like, this idea where completionism is becoming this, this kind of, like, bane of a lot of game players' existence, and I forgot what game it was.
We're talking about, in the article I sent from Kotaku, is Stardew Valley.
Oh, Stardew Valley. But there's also, I want to say, Undertale and maybe another, but there's a couple... Maybe it's not Undertale, but there's a couple games where like the creator actually doesn't want you to be able to do everything. So they've made it like impossible. And it's not Stardew Valley, but that is a game that does that as well. But I kind of like that idea of like the creator saying like, hey, you shouldn't be like spending all your time doing this. This is like a waste of your time. I was just wondering what you guys think about it. I know, Donna, you really enjoyed what the author like talked about on the Kotaku article.
Well, I think it's just an interesting concept because that is kind of like a really banal thing in this generation of games. And that's something that I love. Like when I was talking about, Super Nintendo games that I want to play that I haven't finished, I know that I can go through those games and I can just kind of enjoy them.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to like look online for optimal character build outs.
Yeah.
Or, it's like that's kind of, I'm really enjoying Witcher 2, but it's also...
You have to stay on facts to beat the game.
Like your choices matter, number one, but not just your story choices, your built, like especially in Witcher 2 where it's a lot more brutal than apparently Witcher 3 is.
Yeah, Witcher 3 is a lot more casual.
You can't waste your points, and you can't really respec in that game until the very end anyway. So So there's a lot of that where it's like I sit down to play a game and I end up spending 45 minutes online, like reading different things about decision making with character builds and weapons and all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of was the nature of that article on Stardew Valley. It was like the guy that was playing it had decided not to do that, and it was just content with playing it at his own pace and learning things by himself, but knowing that by doing that, there's a lot of things that he was going to miss out on.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, it's cool, but it's also a bummer because it's hard to know that you're missing out on cool content and then miss out on it. That was something that was so great about Cuphead.
Yeah.
It was that there was no reason to really
miss anything.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really miss anything. So it was nice to just sort of play the game, sit down and play the game.
Yeah, I've had that same. It's funny that author mentioned Stardew Valley. When I picked it up last week and I turned it on, I ended up just feeling this dread because you start the game with such a limited backpack. Like you can only hold so much stuff, and there's a way to like get another backpack, but you have to spend like 2,000 of the in-game dollars. And I'm sure that's easy for people who play Stardew Valley a lot. But for me, who's never played it before, that seems like such a daunting task. So I went online and read like, here's the things you need to do to get the, whatever, to get more money. And it just like, that's such a huge turnoff that I went back to Golf Story and I'm like, I'll get to Stardew Valley when I get to it now, because like, I just want to play games now. I don't want to go through facts anymore,
I think too, because like we kind of grew up in that era where there was a lot of like completionism for gaming. Like we wanted to go through and like, I don't know, like me personally, used to like the 100% things, but
I would
now,
say in
like,
the PlayStation era, but not in the Super Nintendo era, unless you bought a guide. You couldn't even complete the game.
I'm talking about like PlayStation and Xbox, but like I would, now that I've been through all that, and I just like, I don't want to deal with the headache of it anymore. So like if I look at a game where they're like, hey, for me, Breath of the Wild was kind of like that. So like in order for me to like comfortably beat the game, I had to go and do certain things and get certain weapons.
Really?
Yeah, that was my first Zelda game, guys.
Okay,
cut me some slack here.
And it is nothing like most of the other Zelda games are not hand-holdy, but they force you down a path.
Except for well, I wouldn't say it. I mean, most Zelda games are fairly linear in that.
Yes,
but
post-Ocarina, I should say.
I was going to say though that the Oracle of Seasons and Ages are pretty confusing, but also awesome.
With what you have to, but I don't want to deal with it anymore. Like if I could play a game without having to go do like all the side quests, collect all the weapons, do all these extra things to increase inventory space, like I'm perfectly content doing not doing those things.
See, what I want is for that stuff to not matter. And that's one of the reasons that I love, the old. Well, actually, 15 is the same way. I love Final Fantasy games because I know that by not, finding the secret bosses, that I'm not going to be missing out on like the secret ending, because typically outside of 10-2, there's not really secret endings in Final Fantasy games. So you can play the game at your own pace, and as long as you beat the game, like you've experienced everything. And that's kind of the same thing, like, with a Zelda game, I don't have as much of a completionist attitude because you don't need everything, like rarely at least. And and that's why I'm looking forward to Mario Odyssey, because I know that I'm not going to need to read online to play it.
Just play through.
Yeah, there's not going to be like tips before starting this, but there's those games that require such a heavy investment for you to like get the most out of it. And that's the problem, is really it's getting the most out of the game. Shouldn't require all that stuff. You should be able to learn to play a game by yourself and get the most out of it that way.
It's funny that you brought this up though, because it ties into another like huge topic I wanted to bring up, where you're talking about games that you have to like do a ton of stuff to get the ending. I was reading something where it was like Batman Arkham Knight, you had to do all of the Riddler trophies to actually get the final ending of the game. And I read that because Shadow of War, the most recent Middle-earth game that came out just this week, has a thing where you have to play Act 5, I want to say, for anywhere from 12 hours plus to actually get the final ending in the game.
Right, there's like a whole post-game thing.
And that also brings me to... I want to bring up Shadow of War specifically because it's where I think I've started noticing the other epidemic, and we can go back and forth between completionist and this, but they're kind of almost tied together.
Before we talk about that epidemic,
Yeah.
I was going to say the other epidemic that goes along with these completionist games are so freaking big.
Yeah.
That's the problem, like
Open world games.
Even if there's like a specific in a game like Undertale where it's like you want to do it a certain way, it's a 6-hour game.
Yeah, it's a lot more manageable.
It's manageable, but it's like when I was playing Dragon Age Inquisition, and it's like there's and it's like there's multiple, and I pretty much 100% of that game. And there's multiple, like you can make that big decision. There's always a Mages Templar split somewhere in a Dragon Age game. And it's like, I'm never going to go back through that because there was another 60 hours of game after that. And it's like, I'm not going to replay that for a completionist.
Yeah, they should almost have like an option in the main menu that allows you just to enter that point beyond just like, oh, you have to set up a save file here and then load that file and then go through the other thing. Like they should almost have that once you get to that point, be like, hey, here is the story.
But the point what I was going to say is that even if they had that, there's still another like 60, 70 hours of that game to play. So it's like, I'm not going to do that ever again.
I know.
Mass Effect was really bad for that, though.
Yeah, but Mass Effect games were significantly shorter than a Dragon Age game.
20, 30 hours tops. I actually played Mass Effect 1, I want to say 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
and
Mass Effect 1 is short.
It was awesome. It was just like a great, quick, like once you know how to play that game, you could beat it probably in 12 to 14 hours. Mm-hmm. And oh man, that game is amazing.
Yeah.
Anything more you guys want to talk about completionist? Because I do want to bring up this major
thing. Well, that's
what
what I was going to say with quoting Kotaku again is with the reason I'm probably going to skip Shadow of War is because of that fake box quote of there's so much game in this game. It's like, yeah. And that's exactly what I was worried about when it's like a sequel to a game has to be like bigger and more complicated and has to have way more content. And it's like, that's another thing that I really like about Final Fantasy games, or even Zelda games, is that a sequel is about exploring like a new version of Hyrule, or it's about exploring a new world in the Final Fantasy multiverse or something, or like, and it's like, it's not about like, okay, remember this, like this system in Final Fantasy X? Well, it's back, but it's more complicated, and it takes 3 times as long to navigate your menus, and there's way more, like, it's never like that.
Right. But that's what games are getting to, and like, I guess should we talk about it now then?
Yeah.
The big problem I've been having in Shadow of War, I think, was the first one that really...
Well, just make sure that all of our listeners pay us real money for the next loot box version of our podcast.
I know. We got to get some loot box.
You have to buy this content we're going to talk about now.
This is actually and it's a random drop loot box. You might also just get a loot box where we're just farting into the mics. But no, actually, I want to say Shadow of War made me notice it, but honestly, it was... I played the Star Wars Battlefront 2 beta just last night or the night before. It was pretty fun. But one of the things I noticed was that you could buy real currency to let you play as Jedis, because they stopped making a random drop and made it battle points where you can earn them by getting kills in the match, or just buying it. Just buying the currency. And there's also currency that lets you buy weapons and stuff.
I can't wait for that to hit Call of Duty, where you can literally buy your way through matches.
You can't. So Call of Duty has already, they've been doing loot boxes for a while. I don't know if they have a physical currency, or like a paid currency that you can buy, but I think it's only a matter of time.
I feel like that sucks all the fun out of the game, though.
And it's kind of like we were talking, I think, off mic, like these games haven't raised their prices, so these developers are trying to find like the best way they can do it, but loot boxes are probably my least favorite way that they can do it. Like Overwatch, I got them when I played the game, but some people drop like $50 of real world cash to get like new clothes and stuff, and it's all random drops. Like it's crazy to me. And just real quick, I want to list off the games, then I want us to talk about this. But like Forza 7 does loot boxes. Shadow of War does paid loot boxes. Assassin's Creed Origin is doing some type of paid currency. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is doing some type of paid currency. I know PlayerUnknown Battleground, and those are just like the ones off the top of my head. I don't know if you guys can think of any more, but loot boxes is becoming the new annoying thing, the DLC that's paid that you have to be able to do this. And it's a bummer. Like, it's a bummer that this is the way that, things went, instead of like cosmetic things like Path of Exile, where it's just like you buy cosmetic items and it supports them.
The first time I noticed that was with Assassin's Creed Black Flag. You had to pay money to have access to all like the maps and stuff that showed you where all the treasures were and all that.
That's so dumb, man.
That was
Assassin's Creed's been doing this now since Black Flag.
Yeah, that was the first time I'd come across that, and like I paid the $3 or $4 for the maps, but yeah, I wish you could just find this stuff on your own without needing that.
Some games let you do it. Like I'm sure you guys read that Shadow of War you don't actually need any loot boxes. You'll find all the same gear and stuff in the game. It's just strange that they have so many currencies and loot boxes and stuff. At some point that becomes just an annoying thing. Like, oh, I have 0 of this currency, but 20,000 of this currency. I don't know. I'm just curious what you guys think about it because, I mean, obviously Destiny does this, a few other games do this, and it's getting a little bit out of hand. I mean, Microsoft's been doing it every game recently. Like Halo 5 had loot boxes, which there were card packs. Gears of War had card packs. Forza had card packs, and now I just think we're going to see it more and more and more.
Do you get any of this stuff with like we've talked about season passes, but do you get any of this stuff with the season pass, or is this a separate transaction?
Normally you can get like they'll give you 3 or 4 card packs or like one of the best card packs that guarantees, but a lot of those are consumable items that are one-shot uses.
Right, and generally season passes are about content.
Yeah.
Versus this is about loot. So you're basically buying better items so that you don't have to earn them. Then it sounds like it's okay in Shadow of War because I've read so far that you really don't need them, that all of the epic and legendary gear and orcs and that kind of stuff you'll just find in the game.
Yeah.
And it's really not necessary at all. But it's harder when it's like when a game is a grind fest and it's like, where it's like, you can do this raid 1,000 times to get this one helmet to drop, or you can buy it.
So it's all about time consumption then.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. They're trying to appease the people who are our age. They want us to buy, the people our age or older who are like working the 50-hour work week jobs or whatever, 60 hours, and those people just want to play Destiny 2 or they just want to play Shadow of War. They don't want to have to grind, and I don't blame them. They don't want to do that. So the option is, hey, you don't want to grind, just pay us money. You can buy your way through it. And I wouldn't be surprised if South Park next week has some type of loot box system in it. I mean, and to me that's a bummer. Like, I don't want to be asked to buy stuff with real money, and especially after it's just paid $60 for something. And I know we've talked about this. Like we mentioned, games should probably increase their price, but they're not gonna, and it's getting too expensive as is. So
you can buy South Park for $100.
Yeah, I know, right? And like we've talked about, we don't even know what that season pass contains.
Right.
It might just be like armor and items.
Wait, is that an extra $100 on top?
No. It's an extra 40.
Okay.
40 or 50.
Yeah, they have the deluxe version of South Park is like $100 digital, and so basically you're just buying the game and the $50 season pass, but there's not a deal for buying them together.
Okay.
So that's as seems to be like a new trend, because normally when you buy like a digital deluxe or even a physical deluxe edition, it's like you get the season pass
for way cheaper.
It's like, the game was $70 instead, and or $80 and the season pass was $20, as opposed to buying the $60 game and the $30 season pass. But there's no savings. It's just buying them at the same time.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's the whole monetization of games. It's a game that I have no interest in playing, but I've heard was the worst offender, NBA 2K 18.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard that, what do you say, there was $1,000 worth of transactions.
Wait, really?
Just for
so. What, like shoes? And
so what you
clothes?
can do actually, from if I've heard correctly, I'm not going to play it. It's a sports game. I'm not interested. But you can buy points that allow you to upgrade your character. And if you don't pay the real money to buy those points, it supposedly is a lot of grinding out games to be able to upgrade your character. It's like a very slow
in a sports game.
Yeah, and you can bring your upgraded characters to play against others online, as far as I know. So it is pay to win for a $60 game.
Jeez.
And this is something I think we're going to see more and more and more of. And
there's a version of it that's $150.
Yeah, that's so stupid. I mean,
sports games are probably like
the worst offender, maybe.
They make sense though too, because I mean, I don't really register sports games as real video games anyway, because they just seem weird and dumb to me. But
I'm not interested in them. But
yeah, but I mean, it seems like, I don't know. I guess sports fans, doesn't fantasy football cost money?
You can pay for and then a lot of fantasy football leagues they expect
pools,
you to
right?
pay. Expect you to pay. But it's not surprising, because I mean, these are the same people who buy essentially the same game every year for $60, and it sells. It's the top selling game of August, Madden. They're gonna buy these things. A lot of them are just like, hey, I just want to play and be good, so let me just pay $20, level up this character and max him out, and it's such a skeevy way of making extra money.
I guess though, like if you're like EA Sports and you're releasing 4 or 5 main titles each year, and then you're a consumer and you only buy that one game,
which is what they all do.
It's not like I can see it from that point of view.
I do too. It's just a frustrating way. Like Shadow of War, it frustrates me because even though I'm not buying it at full price, I'll probably wait till it's on sale. I don't really want to have to come across a lot of screens that say like, hey, purchase this for $5 or it takes you to the store. Like, if there's a way, I've heard Forza 7 does this, which is nice. There are some games that allow you to literally say, I don't want to see any microtransactions. And I think Forza 7 was the game that does this. If there's a way to do that in games, I'm a lot cooler with it. But if I just paid for a game, I don't want to see that screen, because I'm not going to be tempted to do it. It's just going to be an annoying thing. One of the big reasons why, beyond the way I hate that they control, I don't play a lot of phone games. I hate a lot of them that they have advertisements. And I don't know if you've ever tried a free iOS game and had to sit through a 15-second advertisement.
And they continue to pop up while you're playing too. So
that reminds me, I forgot to mention, of games I've been playing a lot of is I'm back to Super Mario Run.
Oh, how's that going?
They released a brand new mode that was free, like a free update if you're already on the game.
Yeah.
Called Remix 10, and if you play it a ton, you can unlock Princess Daisy as a playable character.
Oh, nice.
Which I did. And then it also has a brand new world in the main game.
So 4 levels?
It's I think it's got 6.
That's like, I would pay another $5 to $10 if they released another 30 plus levels, because I loved playing those original levels, and I liked getting the coins the first 2 times. The third time it was just annoying and
I was working on the black coins, but this let me pull it up and I'll let you know. I think the new world, the Star World, has 6 or 8 levels. I could be wrong,
because the game for a phone game is like perfect. Like, it's one of the best design things, because you just click a jump button, and they made it challenging enough and interesting enough that it's fun. But
there's 9 levels.
Oh, that's cool.
9 new levels.
What does it cost to buy it?
Oh, you don't have to. It's free.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think it's, if you bought the game.
Yeah, I paid the $10.
Yeah, it's free. It's just an update.
Which it dropped to 5. Was that a permanent discount, or was that temporary?
I don't know, because I bought the game when it came out. So
okay,
if
you don't have it, Josh,
it looks like this. And it's cool because you actually unlock the levels in the Star World by doing challenges.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's like, unlock this by winning Toad Rally 3 times in a row, or clear.
I was kind of hoping you meant challenges in each of the previous levels, where it was like, unlock this by jumping on somebody's head or by finding the key.
It is like that.
Oh, okay.
Like clear world 4-1 with 60 or more left on the timer.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool.
So it is like that. There's some of them are Toad Rally related and some of them are remix related.
Okay.
But a lot of them are like, clear this level with 400 coins, or clear this level, defeat 20 or more enemies.
Yeah, I don't know what ninjas are.
I think I don't know what they are actually. But the levels are really fun, the ones I've unlocked at least.
But you said this had something to do with advertisements.
No, it had some. I just forgot that I'd been playing it, and you said iOS games.
Oh yeah,
nothing to do with that. It had to do with iOS.
Yeah, I
games.
thought at first you were about to say that they dropped ads in there. Like,
it's $10.
Okay, it was $5 a week or 2 back.
There's a lot of content for $10 in an iOS game,
and it was. I mean, they did cut it on sale for the.
I think I bought it when it was on sale.
Oh, for $5 a couple weeks back.
Because I have it.
Yeah, it's great. It's an awesome game.
Yeah, we'll get that update because it's free.
Yeah, I need to replay it. I haven't touched my phone.
The remix mode, you basically play 10 levels at a time, and the levels are like 3 seconds long.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
So you play through. It takes a long time to get to Daisy because you have to play through 30 areas. But you also all of the like rare buildings you can get unlocked just like through random. It's pretty fun.
Well, anyways, my dudes, is there anything else you guys want to add in closing before we've had this pretty long episode of Super BS? But what do you guys?
We got a website coming up.
Oh, nice. When are we unlocking that joint?
That will be probably in the next few weeks. As for right now, like after this week, it'll be like our Super BS page will be launched like as a kind of like a side page on humanicanmedia.com.
Okay, are we going to also hopefully have an easy way for people to email us just from that site? Can you just click like a contact us thing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
There's a link down there.
SuperBScast@gmail.com has not seen much action.
Yeah.
It's going to be under www.clownpenis.fart.
So Clown penis
on this
website. Do you ever see that SNL?
No.
There's like I don't remember if it's a law office or like a healthcare website, but they have this like commercial where it's like talking about helping families and stuff, and for like a website kind of thing, and then just the whole joke of it is that the website is www.clownpenis.fart.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up after this.
That is something we'll have to watch. So you think in a couple weeks or so people will be able to check it out?
Yeah. So on this website, you'll be able to see like all the reviews that we have, any like video content we have, plus the podcast links. So
okay, cool. Is there going to be any written stuff? I think we're trying to work on some of that stuff.
Yeah, we have written reviews and stuff that we've already done, like your Pixel Story thing. I'm putting it all up there. So
yeah, man. I mean, that's cool, and I think you'd still check us out on the Podcast News Network or whatever you say it's called.
Podcast Radio Network.
Okay, yeah. Anything you've been working on, Madonna?
No.
Yeah, me neither. There'll be some cool stuff though, pretty cool, and pretty soon. We will be back, pretty shortly, maybe a week, maybe 2. Thanks for sticking in there with us. Peace.
That's to us people that can feel things. It hurts.